Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video you will find out my honest opinion about F1 Speed Champions cars and why I don't like it. End of the video, that's it. No, not really. So let's start with positives. Because there are always some positives, I don't want to be completely negative. So the positives are, I think that these LEGO Speed Champions cars are extremely good gifts for everyone who likes cars, F1 cars, or is a fan of F1. They're relatively cheap, $22.99 for each one of them, or you could get it even cheaper. I saw it for $16.99 recently. So it's definitely a nice, good gift for someone who's interested in cars or F1, and very easy present to buy. The person will build the car. They put that car on a shelf or in the cabinet, wherever they want. Really easy. Another one is that if you buy all of those cars, all of the F1 Speed Champions cars from this year, that looks pretty cool on the shelf. I must admit, they must look pretty cool on the shelf or in a cabinet behind a glass. If you have all 10 of them or even 20 of them to complete the full grid, that looks absolutely excellent. And anyone who collects F1 memorabilia definitely must purchase these, and they will like them. Each car is represented pretty well. Obviously, the colors not exactly match. Aston Martin and Red Bull, for example, the colors don't exactly match. However, all the branding and the rough colors of the cars is alright. So these are reasons why I think people could buy them, should buy them, sure. However, my opinion is slightly different. Now, wait a second. I know what you're gonna say, Dom. You got four F1 Speed Champions cars right here. Why do you have that many if you don't like them? Here's my explanation. These two, Aston Martin and McLaren, are from 2024, when we didn't know about F1 and LEGO partnership yet. This just came out as normal Speed Champions theme amongst other Speed Champions cars, and at that time we thought it's gonna be the only ones, or maybe we're gonna get another cars if LEGO partnership with another manufacturers, because these were not branded as F1 logo. There was no F1 logo on the box. These were branded as Aston Martin F1 cars and so on, or McLaren, and then the specific chassis number on the box, but they were not branded as F1 because there was no partnership yet. So that's why I purchased them, because I thought, oh, it's gonna be cool. And at that time I thought they would be really cool to have. But unfortunately, as you probably know from my video, I'm gonna link that video in the description. I did a list of my favorite Speed Champions cars of 2024, and I listed all the cars, and these were at the bottom of it. Now, the reason for that, and let me explain. In these two cars, Ferrari and Red Bull have been purchased for me as a gift. So I didn't purchase these year's ones by myself using my own money. They were all purchased for gifts for my birthday and anniversary or something like that. That doesn't really matter. The fact is, I didn't purchase those. Now, the fact why I didn't like those cars, and I still don't like those, is, and I don't think the Speed Champions is a good match for F1 cars, is because of how difficult they are to build. Now, they're not difficult as in Lego Technic cars, where you have gearboxes and stuff. They're more difficult because of small parts and stickers. And when you put them together, that's where the problem starts. Because if you have lots of stickers, but let's say on a F1 Lego Technic car, the Red Bull for example, that's fine because the parts are quite big, stickers are easy to apply, lots of stickers, big parts, that's fine. However, when you have a lot of small parts and a lot of small stickers and small parts where those stickers have to go, that's where the problem starts. Now, it wouldn't be a problem if you have just one of those cars. Now, but you have 10. Now you can say, oh, no, we don't need to buy all 10. Of course, I don't need to, and I won't. However, if these are branded as speed champions, now Lego is very smart about this because people like Speed Champions series. People buy Speed Champions series because every car is different. But in this case, all the cars are roughly the same. Yes, the branding is different, the color is different, but overall car and the building techniques are very, very similar. So the nose is the same, the rear wings are majorly the same, the diffusers are the same. The only part that it's that might be a bit different are the engine covers and the chassis a little bit here at the back of each car. These parts are different. However, the rest of it is not. So why would I want buy 10 of these or even 20 of these to complete the whole grid? That doesn't make sense for me. And that's why I'm against those. Because they are very difficult to build. And again, it's not difficulty in terms of like how you have to be very precise of how you're building this gearbox or whatnot. It's just it's very fiddly. A lot of those parts can easily fall off, and you will have a lot of issues applying those stickers on those parts where they should be. And you might say, okay, but Speed Champions cars usually have stickers. And I agree. Speed Champions cars always have stickers and always have small parts because it's a small version of a bigger car. However, there is something when you build a different version of a car and they look completely different, that you have this sense of accomplishment, and you like to see that, oh, this part made that different, and using those parts we accomplished this. For example, if you take this Audi Quattro from last year, and you also take this Chevrolet Camaro NASCAR car, completely different cars, completely different look, lots of stickers on each one of them, and lots of small parts. However, the way they are built, nothing falls off in here. There's no small parts that can easily fall off like with the F1 cars. Those cars have completely different building techniques. They look completely different, and I appreciate that about them. I like that when something is completely different. And whenever I build Speed Champions cars, I have this sense of accomplishment when I finish it. I like looking at it. I like and my ranking as well from last year was not just from the value point and how the cars look like, but also how cool it was to build it, because that's one part of it. You build Lego and to enjoy it and to have this sense of, oh yes, they use this technique to accomplish this part of the car and so on. But having 10 of the same F1 cars just doesn't give you that. If you build one of them, you basically built all of them. There's no difference between them, and that's, for me, I'm a massive F1 fan. Basically the Speed Champions F1 cars should be perfect match for me, but I just really don't like them. I would much more prefer if they would have leave this for either just Lego Technic or do the Icon series, the Icon theme, and then put those F1 cars. They already have F1 cars in that Icon series anyway, for the models from 80s and 90s, and I think that's the perfect size for those cars. You could then differentiate between different chassis much better. You could have different suspensions, different nose, different back, different rear wings, you could do that then, because the scale will be bigger, the parts will be bigger, there will be more parts included. In here, you can't tell that what kind of differences, what differences are on in the floor of those cars. Of course you not, because it's too small for it. So that's my main reason why I don't like those. Another reason is that because we had 10 Speed Champions F1 cars raced on 1st of March, we didn't have any Speed Champions cars until 1st of June. Normally we would already have loads of Speed Champions cars up until June, then more in August. But so far we only had one. We're gonna have 4 or 5 released in August, and that's probably it. And I feel like because Lego used F1 for Speed Champions cars, they could have, if we wouldn't have those, we could have probably have more of different car models that will be part of the Speed Champions collection. Because I love Speed Champions collection, because every car is different. In here I can't say the same thing, because of the reason I already mentioned, because of how difficult it is to build, because of how little difference there are between the cars, because of you can't put that many details on the car. I appreciate what it is, don't get me wrong. And from F1 perspective, I'll be just focusing on F1. If I wouldn't be building Lego daily, this would be probably perfect. I will buy a bunch of those and I'll be happy about it. But because I know how good Speed Champions is and how much it can deliver by creating small models of the cars that we love and that we adore, that we like the look of, it's taking its space a little bit. And I really hope that we're not going to have this every year, that next year we're going to have cars from 2025 in Speed Champions, and you're going to have to buy them again if you are a collector. That's another thing. If you're a collector, like I'm a collector of Speed Champions cars, I didn't miss a car for the last few years. It makes my collection lacking something. Yeah, obviously, like I said, I'm not gonna buy any more of those, or I'm not gonna buy the full roster of the cars unless they gift it to me. I'm not gonna do it. So automatically, and I know that that's not a massive reason, but if you think about, if you like to collect something and then you're missing, like if you collect cards, if you collect baseball cards or something, you want to have the whole roster, yeah? But imagine if they release something that you really don't like, and you can't go over it, that you have to purchase those things and assemble them or whatever to have the whole roster. That's how I feel. I just can't stand building another one of those cars. Even though I love F1 and I love Speed Champions, like I already said, it's just not the perfect match. It's not a good match. I don't think so. Single gifts, sure. Give, like, buy it for your boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, wife, whatever, whoever. Sure, if they're interested in F1, buy them. Yeah, they will have. It will be painful for them to build this, but it will be one off and it will be fine. But from a collector point of view, if I have to build 10 of these, or 8 more, or even 18 more if I want to have a full roster of the grid, this will be immensely painful. Just one final thought about this, I forgot about when I was making the video. All 10 of these will cost you about £223. Obviously you can get it probably on some discounts, maybe you can purchase for about £200, but that's quite hefty just for having cars that pretty much are the same car, just with different branding and different color. So it's down to you if you want to spend that much money on something so similar, but I wouldn't blame you if you do. So yeah, that was my honest opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, what you think about F1 Speed Champions specifically. Do you share my view, or am I exaggerating? Maybe you have a different view about this and you think that this is a perfect scale for those cars. Let me know in the comments what you think. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video pretty soon. Thank you. Goodbye.